Would you let your kids date in high school? And we talked about this in episode 15. And I'll remind you, we talked about how would you explain not dating to your child in high school, right? We talked about, let me not talk about that. The girl moving out, taking advantage of her opportunities in education, starting her career out of state, away from the home. Would you let your kids know to let you know when they're dating? Not go fall in love and then come tell you they're dating. Would you want to meet their parents? The friendship level of someone they like. How would you feel about that as the father? Guys, we're talking about traditional style of parenting here. We're not talking about modern day progressive type parenting. So
nah, we ain't talking about that. Oh, bring in a lion if you want to. As long as
you guys can sleep over here. It's safer for you to sleep here.
And let the lion have his lion parts out.
Oh,
and all
man.
And all
what?
That, hey, man.
What are you saying here, man?
How do I see? It don't make sense, right?
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
Whatever, bro.
How would you feel if your daughter or your son came to you and said, "Dad, I'm so in love with him or her. I can't help it. I really, really like him." And then you meet this person and you're like, "This is trash." How would you handle that?
What the?
Huh?
But I seen a YouTube video where dude was doing a prank on some young lady's dad. The prank was he poses as basically a bad boyfriend. Her dad comes to finally meet her for the first time of their dating relationship, and basically he pretty much disrespects the daughter in front of the dad. Now the whole thing was to get the dad pissed off and to see what the dad does and how the dad reacts. Well,
yeah.
As you may imagine, dad was not happy. The dad was putting hands on the guy, talking to him at first, getting aggressive because the boyfriend was getting aggressive to the daughter. So what did dad, do? The dad defended his daughter, protected. But the point is, the dad did not like what he saw. So he was not accepting of that, and he made some kind of action toward intercepting. And he even told his daughter, "Hey, this type of guy you want to be with, I'm not allowing you to. I'm not gonna accept you, to be with. I'm not gonna let you do that. You know what I mean? You would have to forcibly go against his will to be with the guy. That'll be upon your own head top. If I know and I see the person is trash, you're not doing that. Of course, we all know they can go behind your back, do it anyways. We're not saying that's still not possible. But what you're not going to get from me is that acceptance. What you're not going to get from me is that freedom to do that. I'm going to be the king in the castle, guarding the gates. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to know if you're coming to me, you're going to get these defensive arrows. I'm going to defend what's right and give you what you deserve. I'm not going to allow you and accept a home invasion with all these new ideals and to throw away what the reality is and what's best for this kingdom, for this castle that I'm building. So you're going to have to go and do this on your own in exile, meaning you got to go behind my back to do it. If it's in my vision, I'm saying no. We don't want any of our future kids to be in a situation where they're suffering. Just as a parent, it's in your best interest that your son or daughter are in the best situation that they can possibly be in.
Even if your daughter is dating someone who's a jerk, I'm pretty sure the jerk's parents wouldn't want your daughter with the jerk.
Yeah, if the jerk's parents have any sense and they're conscious human beings.
Exactly. Yeah. Say your daughter who is in high school, guys are going to be hitting on her. Guys are going to be trying to get into her pants and whatnot. How would you advise her to handle that situation? A guy is really trying to date her and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point because there's two versions I see. There's the one that's really going in with good intentions, and there's ones that's just going in with, "Hey man, I see what Guns I like, and I wanna, I wanna get up in there." There's two different versions. Obviously the bad version, you don't want anything to do with that. The good version, you kind of don't want anything to do with that, but you could see the potential. I would really teach her to understand where she is in life, and then further examine the person that's trying to come after her, where their head is, and so on and so forth. Not to say that I'm gonna be okay with them dating, but it's to say for her to understand how to filter and how to examine people, specifically to future things such as marriage, right? You know, really trying to figure out the person. I would gear that type of common sense in that way so that she can know what to ask, what to look for, so that, you know, for future things such as marriage, you know what you're getting into, you know who the person is better, and you're not in a clumsy situation. You know, if the guy's trying to just smash and dash, that's clumsy. If a guy's trying to, you know, smash eventually with no commitment, that's clumsy. If a guy wants to just be girlfriend and never marry, or boyfriend and never marry, that's clumsy. Just seeing where the guy is on that side of things will help you understand what will go on presently and then what can come along.
So how I would advise my daughter to handle a guy flirting with her. If he's really trying to get with my daughter, I'd be like, okay, he's trying to get with you. Ask him to come over for dinner.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'll tell her to ask him to come over for dinner so we can get to know him. If he doesn't want to come over for dinner, but he still wants to pursue my daughter, that's disrespectful. At least I got to meet his parents. Where are his parents' head at? That's the thing about high school, bro. Most guys, most guys in high school don't have good intentions when it comes to dating. Most guys just want to get it in when they date in high school. They want the girlfriend. They want the looking good together, walking down the hallway.
Yeah, bro, I remember a lot of kids used to love the idea of being that one couple.
If you think about it now, it's like, what was it really all about?
For what? For people to say, oh yeah, they're the best couple. They look great together.
Going to football games together.
Sorry, man.
So going to concerts together, hanging out together, going to prom and stuff together, homecoming. It's really pointless, but to a high schooler, it's a big deal. How do we bring knowledge and wisdom to that? It's to be a part of their lives. As much as possible. That's the interesting thing about being a father is like, if you have a girl, there's a sense of protection that you give your daughter that a mother can't be simply because you're the father. Like mom is the loving one, dad is the strong, strict one. Some families may have those roles reversed a little bit. Like I know some cultures, those roles are reversed, but that's hearsay. That has nothing to do with where I'm going. I would ask my daughter, if this is someone you really want to date, would he be someone you would want to marry? Secondly, does he have a desire to work? Where does he want to go with his life? And that's the thing though, because after high school, things can change. Oh, I don't want kids anymore. Oh, I don't want to be married anymore. That's why it's so difficult to date in high school, because that stage of maturity, as to where you are grounded and you know exactly what you want, it doesn't happen until a little bit after high school. It's a difficult thing to judge. You know, if you're having your daughter not hold the man or the boy accountable, but to stand her ground in a standard to which marriage requirements are met, which we've talked about this in a podcast, but I don't know which episode. Yeah, what are marriage requirements? And then you build from there. You establish the marriage requirements, and then anything else that comes after that, they can figure out. But, and this is a question I haven't asked you, how long would you let your daughter who's in high school date a boy who's also in high school before you're like, y'all have to get ready to marry? Even in college.
I think the college one is more trickier.
How long would you let that go on for until you're like, all right, young man, you got to get your reins together?
Well, that's a tough one because...
It is a tough one.
Because, you know, that depends. Here's what I have seen. Some young couples get married after high school. I've seen that. And I'm like, wow, really? They really did that? I've seen this with more of the country folk, or that has been brought up with the country family oriented lifestyle, which their parents probably got married in high school or after high school. Those type of people have different values, different work ethics, and they can get things working differently, you know, versus somebody from a different background that may not have the same values as far as family, as far as how they're gonna make it, and the togetherness, you know, which can make it difficult. So when I've seen those type of people come out of high school and get married, it makes sense because they already have something going. They have something going to where they can provide in that financial way, and they might be in a better headspace or better trajectory, providing the emotional support as well. Probably, I'm not saying is 100%, but let's say the person is not like that, that doesn't have that background, that family stuff like that. That'll be real tough, because the question is, does he have something going? Is he working? Is he able to sustain a normal life for himself? And you wouldn't want to do that if you're not ready at a certain capacity, because things are going to be tough when you can, I guess, wait to be in a better position. And I know there's talks about that, right? But I heard some people say, well, you don't need money to get married. I always struggle to understand exactly what they mean by that. Like, they don't elaborate on what they mean. A lot of them mean you don't need a lot of money to be married. And that's true. And then a lot of them mean, oh, you can be in a tough situation and still get married, which won't be the, smart to do. The first one is true, but, you won't be thriving as you may vision in your head, but you can still make ends meet. You just don't have extra, like, you might not be able to make something, but you can if you put the pieces together and don't go out to eat, or, you know what I'm saying? Are they going to be emotionally, financially, spiritually ready? We got to look at those things before, because in every situation, it seems like first comes love, then comes, you know what I'm saying? We know they're going to say they love each other and they want to be with each other. Yeah. That's going to be obvious. But what's going on with you guys in those areas? Are you ready to take this on, or is it just a thing that's fantasized?
Yeah, that's some good points. What do you call it? If someone that young wants to get married in high school, those would be the basic points. Spiritually, where are you at? Where do you want to be? Financially, where are you at? What do you want to learn? And then your emotional competence as a man. They say men don't need to be emotional, but whatever. Every man is on a different level of emotional expression, but your ability to be emotionally competent, not in expressing yourself necessarily, but understanding where the woman may come from. And that takes time. And all of that really is built on the background of the young man who wants to pursue your daughter. What are the parents like? What is his household like? Where does he come from? Is he spoiled? Does he jingle his bells? Those type of things, man. That's a big deal. I was actually talking to Mr. T yesterday about that a little bit. When it comes to the guy side, it's a little bit different. If you have a son, right? It's different. If it's your son, you obviously can see and you can monitor and you can help bring him up in the way that you see fit for him getting married to a woman. And if you're doing that for your son, that's already a great step. Most parents don't do that. Don't bring their son up in order to be that pillar in the marriage, or to even pursue marriage in that way, or even to know who to pursue to marry in that way. So if you have a son, and I would be more comfortable with my son going out and vetting girls or women to see if they would be viable for marriage, because I would have given him principles and values and characteristics to look for in that.
I was going to say, because it's also a different protective perspective. Like, the perspective of protection for a son is different than how you would do it with the lady or the daughter. It's different protection there. The protection with the lady might be more so physical. The protection with the man, although it don't seem like it, might be more emotional / financial. Hey, don't be spending your money on girls you're not committed to, or hey, don't be give yourself to, because physical protection isn't the concern with the guy. It's different types of protection when it comes to the father protecting either a son or a daughter.
How long would your kid be dating someone before you wanted to meet their parents?
Man, I would say as soon as possible, man. Yeah. Once I know that they're serious, like the scenario where the person is, or the kid is in college, and we don't know what they're doing because we're not around. But once we find out, hey, you know what, Dad, I like this girl. Until they make that announcement and we're aware, we're going to try to set something up. Let's meet them. Let's meet the parents, all that good stuff.
I agree with that. For me, as soon as possible, preferably before they start dating. Because people are like, what? You'd want to meet the person's parents before they start dating? What if they break up? Well, if they're dating, hopefully they're not dating to figure out whether or not they can break up. Hopefully they've already laid out that foundation as to what is the pillar of, first of all, what dating is for and what marriage is. So once they've laid out that pillar before they start dating, when they start dating, they are on their road to marriage. They're making their road to marriage. Then it's not normal dating anymore. Then you don't really have to worry as much about what if they break up, because you know exactly why they're not dating to figure out the other person. They're dating really to make it toward marriage at that point. So of course I'd want to meet their parents before.